All right. Hello today. So, my name is Michelle, and I have my doctorate in physical therapy, and I'm a personal trainer and yoga teacher. And today I'm going to be talking about lifting, pushing, and just everyday activities and how to perform those safely. So, having the strength and having the correct form to do that so that you don't injure yourself. So, I want you to think, and you can even touch. So you can touch your legs, touch the front, the back, you have your glutes. And then I want you to go ahead and touch your back muscles. And so just feeling them, you're going to notice that your leg muscles are so much bigger. Our back muscles are these really small muscles, and they're not meant to do big, heavy jobs. So that's what our legs and our glutes are for. So we need those big muscles when we do heavy lifting or pushing or pulling. But we all have a tendency to use our back because it's just easier to bend instead of have good form and have the strength to do things correctly. So when you're doing stuff, I want you to think about that. Think, are you using your legs here or your back? And so we also want to have a strong core when we do things. So our core is our stomach, but it's also our back. So we want to be able to have a strong core so that when we go to lean forward or do things, that is supporting our back and preventing our injury. So the muscles from our stomach also connect with different muscles and they all sort of work together. So whenever you're doing core work, you don't want to just work your abs, you want to work your back because they all work together and we need to have that strong so that we don't injure ourselves. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples and you can feel free to practice this with me or you can just watch. So this is my favorite way to pick up something light. So if you do yoga, it's just a warrior three basically. So if you have something light, you are going to lean forward like a board and pick it up. So you don't even have to worry about bending your knees. And same thing when you go to put it down, you can just teeter-totter. So everybody has a different amount of curve in their low back. And when you go to do that, you're just trying to keep about that same curve. So you're not rounding with it and you're not arching your back. So just that teeter-totter for really light things. The next idea I want you to think about when you go to do objects um, is holding something in close to you. So you can do this now, even if you don't have anything near you. So if you hold it in close to you, and then you hold it far away, especially if it's heavier, it's harder. So you want to use the same principle when you're lifting and doing things around the house. You want to keep it in closer to your body. So that means, let's say this was sitting somewhere on a table. You want to come to it and get it close to your body to lift it up. And the other one that is big, and this is for heavier things, is squat. So when in doubt, you need to squat. So whenever you're doing something, if you are not sure, squat. So let's say this is a heavier object on the floor. I'm actually going to squat all the way down, bring it close into my body as I lift. So to do that, you have to have the strength in your legs and the flexibility. So we're not using our core in a really strong sense, but we're keeping our core engaged when we do this. So when we go down here, we're going to make sure that we have that pelvic tilt. So our stomach is contracted, our abs are working, and we're going to squat it down and bring it in close and up. So that is something you need to practice. You need to have those strong leg muscles in place so that when you go to lift something heavy, that you are able to do that. So good. Yeah, and just feel free to put any comments in there or questions as I go along. All right, so we have that simple warrior three for light things, holding something close into your body, and when in doubt, squat it out, and then engaging that core. So you're protecting that back. Because if you go to lift it and something's heavier and you haven't engaged that core, that's going to put that strain on the back. So that's the same thing. If our back is rounded, we're expecting all of our back muscles to do this heavy work. All right, so the other one I wanted to show, because this was a specific question, is the idea of shoveling. So garden dirt, and it seems like we're going to be having snow here soon. So I found a child rake outside because I wasn't going to bring a shovel inside. So if you're using those same principles when you're thinking about shoveling, so we want to We want to have it close into our body. So we don't want to be shoveling really far. We want to keep it as close into our body. This also makes us stronger. So our arms are stronger here versus out here. And then we're going to be squatting and we're going to be engaging our core. So I have my core engaged. I'm going to squat down to pick it up. And then let's say I have to shovel it somewhere. You really want to limit the twisting. You can do it a little bit, but if it's something you have to do a lot of or it's heavier, it's actually better to just move and dump it. So it seems like a lot more effort, but if you want to protect your back or you're going to be doing something for a while, just squat down, keep it in close, and actually move to where you need to do it, because that constant twisting is going to start to put a strain. So you can do it a little bit, but I wouldn't do a lot of twisting. So that will go for anything in the garden or snow or anything like that. All right, so those are my big tips for doing everyday activities. So the main thing I want you to think about, and men are terrible about this, is thinking about that squat, keeping it close into your body and engaging that core. So to be able to do that, you have to be strong. So I recommend strength training 3 times a week at a minimum. So your muscle, once you build it up, within 48 hours, it's going to start to break down. So that's why I like to recommend 3 times a week so you can keep those muscles strong. So I would love to hear which principle of this stood out to you and that you are going to think about. So you can watch other people, think about when you're doing this yourself to start to incorporate it. So I do group classes, so I have strength training and yoga, and all of that really works to build those muscles and teaches you how to use those muscles correctly. So in class, we work on how to do a squat correctly, how to do that pelvic tilt, how to engage our core. So really learning how to use these muscles, because if you don't know how to use them correctly, when you go to do everyday activities, you're not going to know how and you're not going to think about it. So I would love to hear what you think. If you're interested in any group classes or personal training, I have my link in the description. And I hope you guys all have a great day. And feel free, if you are watching the replay, just to add any questions or comments, and I will get back to those.